The purpose of a word is to share an idea. If I said the word apple to you, you can picture an apple in your head. But what if the word to me meant something entirely different? You would picture the wrong thing. The idea I'm trying to convey would never reach you. And that's what's happening as activists try to change the definition of words. For whatever reason, or whether or not you think it's right or wrong, the fact remains. It's happening, and we've got a media that loves playing the game because it makes a circus show. And no, I'm not trying to be offensive to this family. I'm trying to be offensive as possible to the media, who wants to use the spectacle, twist words, to make something shocking and unrecognizable, so that you go to the circus, and what do you see? A big old sign reads, "Man eating chicken." And in your head, what do you picture? Do you picture a gigantic chicken monster that's going to eat a man? Or do you picture a fat guy sitting in a chair eating chicken? The point is, the phrase conveys nothing other than confusion, shock, and welcome to the circus show. Take a look at this story. Transgender man gives birth to non-binary partner's baby with female sperm donor. Exclusive. Proud dad Reuben Sharp has revealed how he gave birth to miracle baby Jamie with partner Jay in Britain's most modern family. And even the couple's doctor was transgender. First, I have nothing against the family in no capacity. I'm happy for them. Congratulations. I think it's actually kind of a nice story when you get past how the media weaponizes the nonsense for clickbait. First, transgender man gives birth to non-binary partner's baby. Completely, totally false. With female sperm donor, completely and totally false. First of all, it's not the non-binary partner's baby in any logical sense of the word, because the non-binary partner provided nothing towards the creation of the baby, other than as a family they're having a baby. A female sperm donor quite literally cannot exist because sex and gender are two different things, and female does not produce sperm. You could say woman or trans woman. You see, the fact is, they constructed a title that will trigger keyword search and pop up. It'll be clickbait, it'll be confusing, people will click it, and in no way will it convey any real idea. The title may as well have said, "Man eating chicken, come see in the shop, $5. Let's read the story, and I'll break down for you what actually happened. Because if I wanted to convey to you the actual idea, the actual information using real words, I would say something like this. Female receives sperm donation from trans woman and gives birth to baby. That's probably the best way you could explain it. And if you wanted to really, really be reductive and exclude identity, you could say female receives, female gives birth to baby after receiving sperm donor from male. That's it. Instead, as words become meaningless and clickbait becomes all the rage with media, lo and behold, once again, welcome to the circus spectacle. The Mirror reports, proud dad Reuben Sharp today tells how he gave birth. You see how they put he in capitals? Gave birth to a miracle baby in Britain's most modern family. The 39-year-old transitioned to a man 12 years ago. But he still had maternal instincts and 6 years ago stopped taking testosterone in the hope of one day having a child. And that dream came true when he and partner Jay had a bouncing baby. Jay is non-binary. There's no pronoun there. So they does not identify as male or female. Let's be real, Jay is a female. There is nothing wrong with being female or male, and you can still be transgender, and we can point out what the word is supposed to convey. The reason why they needed a donor is because Jay is biologically female, but doesn't identify as a specific gendered construct. None of this makes sense. And I'll tell you what, man. I don't care if you're offended or not. I'm sick and tired of the insanity. No one knows what is or isn't anymore because words are becoming meaningless. How can I tell you what's happening if news outlets are going to claim that a female can produce sperm when they most certainly cannot? Period. Okay? For the most part, I recognize, okay, nothing is absolute, but overwhelmingly, female refers to the production of ova, of eggs, and male to the production of sperm. So no, female does not make sense. They're simply trying to use a new understanding of what the word doesn't mean, but it does mean to some people when they're actually referencing a trans woman. Let's read on. I hope this is sufficiently confusing for all of you. Notice when they talk about Jay, they don't even use a gender pronoun because they don't know what to say. How can I convey to you an idea so you can understand the world if we can't even talk about it because people are offended by the words you use? The sperm donor was a trans woman, and even the doctor was transgender. Let me tell you something. None of that matters. The story here is the same old story, period. Somebody wanted to have a family, they got a donor, they're having a family. I don't see why it needs to be a spectacle and why it needs to be propped up. Furthermore, if we want this to be considered normal, then how can we have a media telling us it's not? You see the problem? I made this point at a YouTube meeting years ago when they were trying to talk about how we could normalize, certain religions and get people to stop being so extreme. And I said, the fact remains, the fact is, the more you try and bash into someone's head how something is normal, the more they feel it's not, because you're telling them something different about it. You're telling them this is not normal. By literally going to someone saying, look at this story, putting he in all caps, not using pronouns, and trying to accentuate what is not normal about this, you are not normalizing it, you're doing the opposite. You're making a spectacle of it. This I find particularly offensive. And if there was anything that was transphobic, it's quite literally this, okay? You can explain to people simply, non-offensively. You know what? I guess you can't, okay? Because everything's offensive. Nothing makes sense. The world is collapsing. I hope whatever is going to happen in 2020, no one's going to be able to speak English anymore. There's a really funny skit where it's like a school teaching people how to speak English, and they're teaching them like verbs and adverbs, and they go, now let's get to the pronoun section. And they turn to the other side of the board, and there's like 800 words of like z, zer, zim, zam, boof, borf, whatever. And the people trying to learn English are like, what? Yeah, exactly. Language is just a way to convey ideas. And what we have now are people who for some reason want control over words. The problem is people don't all agree on what words mean. Look, I get it. You might say to yourself, woman is an adult human female. Hey, that's how the dictionary defines it. That's how Wikipedia defines it. I think it's fair to say. But you go to certain progressive circles and you go to the media and they'll say, woman is just a representation of certain social constructs. It's like, okay, then what? Well, then they say female can literally be a man, a male. I'm not kidding. That's literally what's happening. So long as look, in the past, I feel like the world was, imagine two people. You have a crazy leftist and you have a staunch conservative. The leftist has a harness on and a rope, and the conservative is pulling that rope as the leftist slowly drags, marching forward to the left. That's kind of how things went. Conservatives held the left back from going too far, and the left constantly tried to push left, never knowing when to stop. And thus, over the past 100 years, our society started drifting slowly in a leftward direction. Something weird happened. When social media emerged, and people started complaining about the conservatives holding the rope, social media companies snipped the rope. And then the left just bolted off as fast as possible, and they're spinning out of control and crashing into walls, and conservatives are standing in the exact same spot they've always been. That's kind of the way I view the world. So now you have this, right? There's a story from NBC News. Man, I don't even know anymore, man. I'll probably get banned from YouTube. I don't even care. I'm so over this. NBC News ran a story where they said children as young as, 5 or whatever, start to identify with their gender, playing with toys and other things like this, and their gender identity is just as strong as a cisgendered child. Okay, I have no problem with the research, fine. Oh, what's that? We're simultaneously being told that gender is a social construct and that boys and girls can both play with dolls or Legos, and it's society making girls play with dolls? Hold on. If gender is a social construct, but then telling a little boy who plays with dolls that he's trans is a scientific fact, then what is or isn't? There is no understanding of truth anymore. And that's the way it is. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do a longer segment for my main channel. For those listening on the podcast, you probably all heard it. But the reason this story about the trans family really triggered me, got me really angry, has nothing to do with the family. They're very happy. I'm very happy that they're happy. I think we got more happiness in the world. Hey, man, more power to you. They're doing what they want with their freedom-loving lives, and that's kind of the freedom-loving view of what, I don't know, in my opinion. They're in the UK, but I think that's what freedom's all about. Look, they had a kid, they went through a donor. These are kind of normal things if they want to live their life a certain way, and so be it. That's not particularly a conservative view. I think conservatives are more interested in traditional families and all that stuff, but I believe in individual freedom, people pursuing things to make them happy so long as we have certain protections on trying to cause harm to others. The problem I have is almost always how the media weaponizes things, how they jump on board because it gets them the clicks they want. And this story from just the other day, already from last night, 31,000 shares. Bravo, good sir. And where is the left to call out the spectacle? Where is the left to criticize the media for saying something as silly as female sperm donor? There's nowhere in sight. Because it's always been conservatives who have held back the left with that tether being snipped. Basically what that means is social media companies will ban you if you criticize this. But that's literally what we need, because we need to be able to figure out what the hell they're really talking about. Great, now I said the H word, and believe it or not, you can't say that on Twitter, on YouTube. You see how crazy things have gotten? I can't say certain words, I can't explain to you certain ideas, but they can certainly pump out this insane circus spectacle garbage. It's a family who had a kid. Great, thanks, move on. But it fits such a shock factor. It's a spectacle for them. And so they know writing this ridiculous headline that makes no sense is going to get them traffic, and it does. You know what, man? I think we're doomed. I think we're in serious trouble when it comes to the future of our politics, because the right is being censored. It's a fact, okay? And it's not just conservatives, it's any moderate who might recognize this and call it out too. The earlier segment I did, Donald Trump's tweets were shadow banned, and then Twitter said it was a glitch, but it keeps happening. And when that keeps happening, when you ban people who say, hey, this is a bit too much, then all that can happen is the left will run away unchecked into absurdity. To the point now where we simultaneously have, listen, I've talked about it in the past where, like, if you said, they claimed the word women with an X, so it's W-O-M-X-N, Wimixen. They said that was the right word to use because it's an inclusive word that encompasses all different kinds of women. Well, then a bunch of other feminists got mad saying Wimixen was exclusionary because it created a new word and trans women are women, therefore you didn't need it. The word was both simultaneously inclusive and exclusive at the same time, and no matter which word you used, you were going to get attacked on social media for using the wrong word. There is no right way to do anything. Perhaps what will really happen is because the left has run so far off the edge, they will spiral out of control and people will eventually give up trying to figure out what the hell they're really talking about. But now we have this. The gender binary social construct paradox, where it's simultaneously true that females can produce sperm, but that gender is a social construct, but that little boys playing with dolls are in fact trans and should take hormones to biologically transition, but at the same time, a little girl who plays with Legos is not trans, she's just breaking gender norms. There's no right answer. There's literally no right answer. I don't even know what the framing of this video is going to be other than everything's crazy and everything's falling apart. There is no accurate way to describe what the hell any of this really means. So you know what? It comes to a point where people like me who try to be reasonable, try to be kind of in the middle to understand what both sides are saying, I just say, I have no idea. I really don't. No, I mean this honestly, right? Fine, by all means, flag my video and try and get me banned. I don't care anymore, dude. Listen, when you say a kid playing with dolls is trans, but that a kid playing with dolls is breaking the binary, and that there is no gender binary, and biological sex doesn't exist, but that people can transition between biological sexes, dude, I'm just lost, okay? And you know what's gonna happen? People are gonna reject every last drop of it. You do literally have people claiming that you can transition from male to female. Jordan Peterson debated a professor who said biological sex doesn't exist. If biological sex doesn't exist, then how are you transgender literally at all? It both can't exist, right? I've heard the argument from actual trans people. I think ContraPoints brought this up, that with the binary, you have someone who is male wanting to transition to female. Though they will never really be biologically female, they will take hormones to approximate it to the best of, you know, our scientific abilities. But if there is no gender binary and behaviors are social constructs, then there quite literally is no trans. So I'll put it this way. Why would a trans person who is male want a beard if women can have beards? And women literally can have beards. It's rare, but it happens. If a man can wear a dress and still be a man, at what point does that man become a woman? If you see the problem with both a simultaneously social construct but also biological sex things, they don't coexist properly. So I'll tell you what, here's my position. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. I'm more than interested in expanding the laws and helping and trying to protect people's civil rights, but not if there's two people of the same faction telling me two different things. By all means, tell me I just don't understand, because I really don't, and I'm trying to tell you that. So why don't you comment below and break this down. First, I need you to define what the word woman is and what the word man is. Define those for me. After that, I want you to define what gender as a social construct is, and then I want you to define what biological sex is, assuming you believe or don't believe in it. Assuming you don't believe in it, explain to me what you think the difference between a man and a trans man is, or a man and a trans woman. If there's no biological sex, then quite literally, two identical twins could both simultaneously be male and female at the same time, right? Let's say you have two identical twins, both biologically male. If gender is a social construct, and they're both wearing suits, could I call one of them a woman and female because females have sperm? I'm lost, man. I'm just frustrated with all that. Welcome to 2020. Have a happy new year. Stick around. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. YouTube.com/Timcast, and I will see you there.